Hi YouTube. So in this video I'm going to show you how to assemble and how to adjust the quick coupling for the loader. I released the files yesterday, and if you're watching this video you probably bought the files already, so thank you. Now, adjusting the quick coupler is very important because this is a micro servo and they burn out very quickly if you don't adjust them properly. So I'm going to take you through all the steps on how to install the servo and the quick coupling so that you hopefully don't burn your servo. So here's all the parts that you need to properly mount the quick coupling. Now, the first thing we're going to do is install this servo into the receiver and give it power, because these gears might be off. We want to know exactly where these gears are. So we're going to plug this into our receiver and set up our transmitter before we begin with any of this. So I plugged in the servo on channel 10. Now what we're going to do, you can mount the servo in whichever channel you want. But I'm just going to use channel 10 as an example on how to adjust the servo on this transmitter, and I'm pretty sure that the same steps are required on other transmitters as well, because you want to adjust how much the arm moves when you press the switch, because if it moves too much it will press this lock piece right here down into the frame and keep pressing until the servo burns out. So what we're going to do now first, on this transmitter you need to adjust the auxiliary channels, and we do this by going to aux channels on the function menu right here. You can see it. So we scroll down until we see aux channels, press that, and since we put the servo in channel 10 we need to go to channel 10. And here you can see it says none. You press that, and since I want to use this switch right here, you can see it's called switch D, and we're going to find switch D. There it is. So here we have channel 10 on switch D, right? Now before you plug in the battery, you have to make sure that everything is ready. Now our next step is going to endpoints right here. You scroll down until channel 10. Now this is where you adjust how much the arms move. The first one, 100% right here, is when the switch is in up. So when this one is up, it moves 100% up. What you want to do is put the second one right here down to 0%, like so. That means that the arm won't move any percent down past neutral. So now that we have adjusted that, go back and you check the reverse menu. This channel 10 should be normal. It should not be reversed, because if it is reversed, that means that the arm moves down when you have this one up. And now the last step before plugging in the battery is going to sub-trim and check if channel 10 has 0%. And it does, which is good. If it has anything else, put it down to 0%. Now we can plug in our battery, and I'll zoom in on the servo and show you what I mean. So once I plug in the battery, that servo is going to move into the up position, and that tells me exactly where the gears are when I install it on this quick coupler. So I'm going to plug in the battery now. There we go. And then I disconnect the battery again. So perfect. Now we know exactly where the gears are, and we can go ahead and remove this. I just put this on to show you. So now with everything switched off, we can begin assembling the quick coupling. Now the first step is, you might have to drill this hole a bit. I used a 1.5 millimeter drill and opened this hole because the filament was kind of clogged in there. And I use 2 screws. These are 2 millimeter by 6 millimeter self-tapping screws. Now this is the linkage. You just mount the linkage onto the lock. Don't screw it too tight because you want this linkage to move freely. And I have something here. I need to take that off, like so. Okay. And now when you can insert it, and it must be inserted this way with the frame on that side towards the servo. Just insert it into the hole and check if it moves freely, and it does. If it doesn't, you have to figure out what is causing it to not move freely. So just put it there for now. Now here comes an important step. You have the servo, and the servo is going in on this side, right? And this gear is going upwards, like so. Now when you look at the servo this way, you take the servo arm and you mount it about as close as you can get to 45 degrees upwards, like so. Because remember, the servo is already in the open position where it should be, and now you know exactly where to mount the arm. So it should be like this. And just go ahead and lock it with the screw. There we go. And now you're going to insert the servo into the quick coupler. You just go ahead and do this, put it in place, and then you put in the 2 screws that came with the servo. And you can use whatever servo you want. This is the standard micro servo measurements. The servo that I'm currently using right here is maybe $3 or $4 on eBay. It's a cheap one, and they kind of burn out easily when not adjusted properly. So let's go ahead and put in these screws. There we go. And now we're going to attach this linkage right here onto the servo arm. I always mount it around the 3rd hole from the outside, like so. Oh no, it fell out. Yeah. So now that we have it mounted like this, we can now adjust the servo through the transmitter. And we're going to do that by plugging in this servo again. So let's power on the transmitter and put in the battery. There we go. And now if you have this same problem that I have right now, that this lock just falls out of its hole, just line it up properly and keep it right there. And you go to the menu and on the function and endpoints, and then you scroll down to channel 10 and click the 100% that we left right. You click that and you adjust this one down, like so. You'll see that it now moves the lock down into a position. Now you're going to adjust it so that it's right at the edge of this hole. There. I ended up with having it at 10. And now we have to adjust the other side the one that was at 0, because that's when you press the button down, it's how much it will stick out. So when I flip the switch now, it barely moves, and then we go ahead and adjust this one up. You see? Now what you want to do is adjust, let me zoom in. You want to adjust this piece to barely hit the frame right here. You don't want it to hit the frame, you just barely want it to hit it. So I'm gonna stop it right there. And now you can see when I press the switch again, we have a working quick coupler. And that's all you have to do. Now I'm going to test it on an accessory here. So here we have the forks. Just line it up like so. Let's move this out of the way. So here you can see. Now it is not locked, but once I press the switch, it is locked. So locked, unlocked. And if you can hear the servo working, that means that it is working against itself and might begin to heat up and burn out. So try to adjust the servo in a way that it does not work against itself. Now I still have a little gap here, but that's okay. It locks everything pretty tight. And also, while we're at it, I'm going to show you how the buckets assemble and all the accessories for this quick coupler. So this is a piece that you have to print separately, and it will have this main piece right here and all these smaller pieces attached on the side here. So you just cut them off and you bolt them onto this bigger piece with 2 by 6 millimeters self-tapping screws. Now what is important is to keep this lock on the same side as the lock on the quick coupler, of course. So how these work is you have these 2 hinges on each side. They go on to the quick coupler like so, and then you move this locking piece in line with the lock, which then locks everything in place. And since these are universal, you'll need one of these on each attachment, and you bolt the buckets and all the accessories on to these 4 screws. You can see in here. Now these screws can vary a bit in size and lengths, but I usually use 3mm by 8mm self-tapping screws. Well, I hope this video was helpful, and I hope that you now understand how this quick coupler works, because it's pretty simple actually. Well, anyway, that's it for this video, and if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.